Coach Jack Daniel, bam, 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 pow, at the Boxers Trainers Channel. And this evening, we have a very interesting subject. You know what I mean? I mean, it's very interesting because nobody really brings this type of content to the table when it comes to boxing. You know what I mean? And I told y'all earlier that you would want to pay attention and hear this particular podcast today because it's speaking in terms of the behavior, the politics associated with the game of boxing. You know what I mean? And it's like some instances, boxers boxers can put themselves in the position where they can excel financially or they can starve to death. If they don't have a apropos team pushing their um their background, right? Pushing their career to a successful level, right? They can starve to death. Now, here's an instance, right, where I kind of like was involved in the particulars associated with this particular fighter, but it wasn't him that I was making the informal request to the PBC, right? For it wasn't um, Demetrius Andrade, right, who I was referring to when I had conversation with the PBC in Timothy Smith, vice president, mind you, of the PBC. So, I mean, I went as far as to draw up a phenomenal proposal requesting permission from the PBC to entertain a conversation with Turkey Al Sheikh in regards to the PBC and the PBC stable, right? I mean, quite naturally, this would have put me in a position where I would have ascertained some name recognition. Everybody in the game needs name recognition. I don't care what sport you in, you need some name recognition in order to be successful, especially when it comes to this boxing, because the boxing game is really a nasty game, right? I mean, I just hate to say that, but at the end of the day or night, right, you don't get things done because people treat you so fundamentally unfair, right? Even those who have the luxury to say that they're your friends, right? Now, I say the luxury because, hey, anybody who says that they are friends to me, they are friends. They have put themselves in a position where they have demonstrated that they're worthy of me calling them my friend, right? Now, that works two ways. It's supposed to go backwards and forwards, right? But that doesn't happen today in today's society, right? It is definitively hard to call somebody your friend, right? And have them live up to the expectation of being a friend. A friend, in my opinion, is one that ascertains loyalty, honesty, has um, a good rapport with not only you, but those that they associate with, right? A friend is a unique human being, and as far as I'm concerned, right? And they come, and I mean, not very often. You know what I mean? I have been in a situation in the boxing scheme of thing where I have gotten really close to somebody that's in the sport, right? That has made a substantial amount of money in the game, right? They have made an astronomical amount of money. Now, if this is the money that I'm concerned about, it is the loyalty. It is the loyalty, the friendship associated with you help me, I help you, right? You help me, I help you, right? I mean, it's simple mathematics. That is associated with friendship. In my opinion, I don't know. Maybe I may be looking at this wrong, but I don't think so because I feel good in my heart about saying and being friends to somebody who has demonstrated, or I was under the impression that they had demonstrated this to my friend, right? But when it comes to this boxing game, man, that's all out the window. People ain't trying to hit none of that when it comes to free because they don't want to help. So I have to do the logical thing in order to get my name out there, right, and push forward. Here's the deal. I had conversation again with Timothy Smith. I proposed to Timothy Smith if he will allow me to have conversations with Turkey Al Sheikh as a liaison between the two, in hopes that we could put on, the two of us, Turkey Al Sheikh, well, the three of us, me being the third party involved, Turkey Al Sheikh and the PBC. I would be the liaison because my thought was and is that I am Muslim, right? Muslims respect Muslims if Muslims are practicing Muslims, right? If they are practicing Muslims, they respect one another, right? It doesn't have nothing to do with money, right? It is a Muslim thing. So I proposed this to the PBC, and with all a good intent associated with my proposal, right? Now, there's an old saying, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Here's the deal. The PBC, without really taking what I said as to the proposal under consideration, they simply said, we don't need a liaison. We already have one with Turkey Al Sheikh. Okay, now today, I heard a conversation between the boxing voice Ness and Demetrius Andrade, right? Demetrius Andrade and Ness, hey man, they was really, really, really going at it, right? I mean, it was like a damn. It was like really a damn. Wow. You know what I mean? It was a lot of negativity in association with words and names and it was really bad. I know it probably did a lot for Ness's show, but it had a layer of negativity associated as I viewed it. I don't know about everybody else. No, actually I do, because I did sneak and read some of the comments associated with the conversation, right? And a lot of people were saying that Ness was really out of line, right? He went too far. He crossed the line, right? And I have to say, in all fairness to Demetrius Andrade, right? Ness may have pushed the needle a little too far as not really understanding the situation that the politics associated with boxing has Demetrius Andrade in, right? Now, Demetrius Andrade was actually on, this is going back to PBC and Timothy Smith. Demetrius Andrade was on trying to get a fight made, right? And it didn't really make a difference who it was. He needed some work, right? And but quite naturally, because Demetrius Andrade is used to getting a nice paycheck, right? It has to be somebody of worth, has to be somebody of name recognition, right? And the names that Demetrius Andrade was missing, Ness was like, no, man, no. And he gave a litany of reasons for why no. But at the end of the day, let's get back to the proposal. Now, if in the event that there was some truth to what Timothy Smith of the PBC, the vice president, conveyed to me about a liaison is not needed because they have one, right? Well, why in the hell is Demetrius Andrade trying to find a way to get a fight made? It sounded like he was kind of like hurting, like you know what I mean, cash flow like hurting, you know what I mean. And I can understand that. You gotta have, man. Look, that's what them dudes eat off of. The fight, they make money to feed their families. You know what I mean. So here's the deal with the PBC, right? Now, of late, the PBC hasn't been doing the necessary work associated with feeding those fighters, putting them in a position where they can get work. You know what I mean? This has been going on for at least 2 to 3 years, right? The PBC has lost his fame and recognition based on the fact it doesn't have a network, right? Netflix was supposed to have a deal with the PBC, but obviously that fell through because they ain't putting in no work. There's no boxing associated with Netflix and the PBC. Now, here's the deal. I say that It was wrong for Timothy Smith to tell me, no, don't go to Turkey Al-Sheikh and try to get Turkey Al-Sheikh to put some fighters on his network and and go from there. Right? He didn't want me to do that. I don't understand why the hell he didn't want me to do that. I'm just. It kind of goes back to what I said a few minutes ago about boxing, how dreadfully a mean-spirited boxing is, right? This is a prime example. Now, Timothy Smith could have easily said, hey, look, here's the deal. Go ahead and see what you can put together. And if you can put together something reliable, right, then we'll talk about some money, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what boxing is about, money, man. You know what I mean? Boxing is about the money. You know, I don't care how you look at it. Boxing is about the money, right? So for Timothy Smith to tell me that they don't need a liaison between the PBC and Turkey Al-Sheikh was bullshit. Excuse my French. But it was bullshit, man. You know what I mean? It was bullshit because if it wasn't bullshit, why ain't some of your boxers starving or sound like they're starving to death, right? Because they can't get a fight. Why is it that the PBC isn't out there getting hoorah'd about all the good fights they putting on like they did before, right? Something is dreadfully wrong with the PBC. And by me offering to help fix the PBC and by Timothy Smith put me in a position where I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Hopefully somebody is hearing this and say, damn, is that what Timothy did? Get that cat on board, right? I mean, look, because actually at the end of the day, this is crazy. This is crazy. Demetrius Andrade should not be on a podcast soliciting for work. The politics involved in boxing is crazy, man. I'm quite sure if you don't know it, you know it now, right? And you heard it from the Boxers Trainers channel. But let me say this. I'm going tomorrow morning, the wife and I, to Las Vegas, right? I'm going to Las Vegas to get my hands and my fingers and my feet wet, right? Getting involved in the particulars of this damn sport of boxing, excuse my French, right? Because I'm sick and tired of being put in a position where I'm dealing with people that don't have a snowball chance in hell of trying to help somebody out. And so you help them, they help you, right? They don't do that in boxing, but I'm the type. I'm not giving up. I do not like giving up, right? I am going forward with this sport. I'm going forward with this podcast. And sooner or later, shout out to Shoshan, greetings from Germany. Shout out to you, brother. And I'm going to Las Vegas, right, to get involved in those gyms, go to Top Rank, whatever I need to do to get my my name out there, I'm doing it, right? Now, I'm not rich by no means, right? And this going to set me back a little bit? Not really. But the fact of the matter is that I need to get some name recognition so I can push this platform, so I can push positive boxing forward in a positive fashion, so we can get rid of some of this garbage, man. Now, I'm quite sure y'all understand why I'm fired up and angry, right? Because this don't make no sense. The world is in an effed up place, right? Especially when it comes to the sport of boxing, and especially when it comes to so-called friendship. You heard me? Okay, man. Look, when I get to Vegas, I'm gonna open it up and let you guys see what I'm doing, because I don't like people in this with people are questioning the validity of what I'm saying in reference to the truth or falsehood. I don't travel in falsehoods, right? So when I get to Vegas, I'm gonna set up in my room and do a show from there and give you some practical reports on my advance, because I am going to advance. I'm going to make. I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. When I'm through. When I pass this podcast on to the next level of the sport, it will have reached greatness, in my opinion. That being said, man, I hope your fingers ain't hurt, man. Hit that subscription button, man. Hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. And let me know if Timothy Smith did a disservice to boxing by telling me that they don't need a liaison between the PBC and one of the most successful, powerful person in the boxing game, Turkey Al Sheik. That being said, man, I'm gone. See you when I get to Vegas.